I have £1 billion to sign one player from every Premier League club. Then we have 5 seasons to win the Premier League. All 20 teams are on this wheel and we are going to be picking first from Crystal Palace. Because they are the first team the wheel has picked, I will also be taking over Crystal Palace for this video. And because I'm now in charge of Palace, we do have a handy assistant manager star rating here to help us pick out the very best player here. So I think it makes sense actually if we just go for the best and we go for Mark Gay. He's a very good centre-back, England capped already. I think will improve maybe a little bit as well, so I think he'd be a great addition to the team. As for player valuations, we're going to use the midpoint of their in-game valuation, or if they're a real-life summer signing, we're going to use their real-life transfer fee. Apart from with Mark, as you can see, his valuation is very, very low because in-game his contract is about to expire. So instead, it looks like in real life, Liverpool are trying to sign him for about £30 million, so we're going to use that as his valuation. Welcome Mark to the team for £30 million. Right, let's spin the wheel again and see where we end up. Everton. We could go for Beto, for example, as a nice backup striker, particularly because he's very physical. However, he's 28 years old, so by the time we get around to the 5 years, he's going to be 33. His attributes will have dropped quite significantly, which is why I think we go double centre-back straight off the bat here and go for Jared Branthwaite. Have him as a backup centre-back who will improve a little bit, and hopefully by the end of these 5 seasons, he might actually be a starting quality for us. Right, another spin of the wheel, and this time we are ending up at Sunderland. I feel like the obvious choice here is Granit Xhaka, but 33 years old, he will start to decline quickly and be useless to us by season 5, and we're going to have a small squad, remember, so instead I think a very clever signing would be Adingra, who Sunderland signed in real life for about £21 million, which is fantastic for us. Let's bring Adingra in on the left wing for £21 million. So for our 4th pick, we're going to end up at Leeds United. Willy Gnonto would be a fantastic player to get for us, but he's expensive, and I kind of want to save some of this budget for big picks from, Man City to get a Haaland, for example, or Liverpool to get a Florian Wirtz, for example. I actually think a nice budget pick here, particularly because he only moved for about £16 million this summer, is Lucas Perry. Whether he starts in goal for us or ends up as a backup, I don't know, but I think he would be superb and a great value pick. Okay, pick number 5. We're heading to Spurs. I like it. Although their starting lineup are a bit older than I kind of remembered, like Solanke, 28. He's going to drop off a bit quickly, I feel, isn't he? Okay, I think I have found a compromise. For 66 million, we can get Pedro Porro, and I don't think we're going to find a better right back, really. I think he's one of the best in the Premier League, especially in Football Manager. Right, let's spin the wheel again, and we're ending up with Manchester United. Okay, there's only one player I want from United. Benjamin Šeško. Now, he's probably not as good as he should be in Football Manager 2024. He'll be a lot better in the new game when it eventually comes out, hopefully. But I believe they signed him for, I think it's about £66 million. At least that's the upfront fee in real life. Hopefully, he will develop really nicely by the end of this. Right, another spin of the wheel, and we've ended up at Nottingham Forest. I think we're better off maybe going defensively. I don't think we can look past Milenkovic. I know it's another centre-back, which means we've got another one, but with 17 jumping reach and 16 heading, insane from set pieces, I think it's worth doing, particularly because he's only going to cost us 32 million, which feels like a bit of a steal. Right, let's hope for another big club now, because we want to try and get some bigger names in early doors, and Chelsea is exactly what the doctor ordered. The issue is Enzo Fernandez might just be too expensive here. We're looking at around 150 million or so for Enzo Fernandez, and that's a huge chunk of the budget, and I don't think he's quite worth it. So let's compromise a little bit. We'll go for Moises Caicedo. He's going to cost us 80 million to get in, but it's way cheaper than Fernandez, and I think they're just about as good as each other. So pick number 9, we're going to be ending up at Fulham. Looked like it was going to be West Ham. Fulham instead. I would have preferred West Ham. After such a big pick as well previously with big money, I feel like actually Fulham's quite a good way to save some money. We haven't yet got a fullback, and I tell you who could cover multiple positions quite nicely is Ryan Sessegnon. And at such a cheap price as well, I think I'm happy to bring Sessegnon in. And then for pick number 10, we're looking at Newcastle. They've got very good attackers at Newcastle. I mean, I'd love to go for Isak, but I want to protect our budget a little bit, and I think there's maybe better striker options out there in Football Manager, I should say. You know what? I think Anthony Gordon is the shout here. I think Anthony Gordon is the guy that we'd bring in to be an inside forward, and at £58 million, he's probably one of the better players in the Newcastle team and on the cheaper end of things, so we'll bring Gordon in. And actually, we're doing okay for budget. After signing Gordon, we've got £594 million left. So actually, we have been a bit more conservative. We maybe could have gone a bit bigger, actually. So the next team, I'm going to spend big. It's a shame it's Brentford, though, isn't it? It's a real shame. Saying that, there is a Football Manager wonderkid at Brentford who I think would be ideal. Aaron Hickey. I mean, maybe he's not much of a wonderkid these days, but can play with both feet very well and can play right back and left back. We've got a small squad here, so having players that can play multiple positions and with both feet is a cheat code. It's a shame it's a £45 million. That is quite a lot of money, but Aaron Hickey, you're going to come in. And now we are spinning again, and it lands on Liverpool. Wonderful. If we got Liverpool in the first 3 picks, I think I would have gone Florian Wirtz and tried to make it work. Obviously, he costs a lot of money in real life, and that would have cost us a lot in game as well. So we're going to go for Szoboszlai, because actually looking at him, we can pick him up for 67 million, and that feels like a steal for a player of his quality. And we're also lacking midfielders right now as well, so we need to bring midfield Szoboszlai. Right, let's spin this thing again, and we are landing on West Ham. I think I'm going to go for a real gamble here. Jared Bowen is very, very good, and I think he'd be great in the team. He's also going to take a big chunk at 50 million, but he'd be great to start things off. Like, really good. Yeah, let's get him in. Okay, we are getting low on teams now, and there's not too many of the big teams left, and another one's going to go because Arsenal are here now. And in the back of my mind, this is where I wanted to go for a striker. Big Vic, with his 17 finishing, his 15 pace, his 20 natural, like, he is so good. Let's get him into the team. And of course, he cost Arsenal in real life. It was about 55 million, I think, up front, wasn't it? So 55 million is what we're going to pay for Victor here. So we've done pretty well with getting the big teams, at least, you know, not leaving them right to the very end. And actually, Man City is next. Fantastic. We do actually have the budget left in us to be able to bring in Phil Foden. The question is, do I want to pay £135 million for him? No, I think we just do it. I think we've got to blow the budget somewhere, haven't we? Phil Foden, I'm taking a huge gamble on him. Right, so now we just need to get some of these smaller teams out the way. I'd like to get Villa now, but it's going to be Bournemouth instead. Alex Scott, huge potential in Football Manager. I think deserves an upgrade. We'll get him in. It's going to cost us a little bit here at 37 million, but I think it'll be worth it. Spinning round again, and we're looking this time at Burnley. Breuer actually might be the man to go for. They bought him in real life as well for about 20 million. So that feels like a bit of a steal. 3 teams to go, and we're now looking at Wolves. I think we go for another one of the new signings as well, actually, because I know they signed Andre for, I think it was about 18 million or so. 18 million is what they paid for him, I think, pretty much. So Andre, welcome to the team. So who's it going to be? Aston Villa or Brighton? And we're ending up with Aston Villa. I believe we've only got 3 centre-backs still. And I think we're going to find better centre-backs at Villa than we are at Brighton. We're going to go for the younger one of the best 3. Let's get Konsa in. And let's bring him in for about 34 million. So that leaves with the final pick, Brighton. We've only got 1 keeper, actually, haven't we? Thinking about this. We got Lucas Perry so early, it was out of my mind that we needed a keeper. Right, well, in that part of the Bruges, it's got to be him. He is, and actually that might work out really nicely because he's still young enough to improve a bit, isn't he? And in-game only 36 million. That's actually quite the steal. So that leaves us with 97 million pounds left over, which you might be thinking, Tom, why have you just not spent more already? Well, that's because we are actually going to pick 3 more players. A 20-man squad might just be a little bit too small, so we should get 23 men playing in this team. So because Leicester, Ipswich and Southampton all got relegated last season, we can pick 1 player from each of these teams. Starting with Leicester, Abdul Fatawu is valued quite highly. He's going to cost us about £42 million here. But again, he's a player that I think can improve. From Ipswich, we could certainly do with some more fullback cover, and Ben Johnson can play both left back and right back, and is also only going to cost us, we'll call it 17 million. Let's get him in. And at Southampton, I think we go for a bit of like future flair and talent here with Matías Fernandes. He doesn't look very good at all actually, does he? But let's get him in and hope he improves. I think what makes most sense is a 4-2-3-1, and honestly, I think this starting 11 could win the title. But the game takes into account the rest of the squad, which aren't quite as good as our starters, so we are predicted to finish in 8th place. Also, I know the Premier League has already kicked off this season, and I have forgotten to do it in previous videos before that happens, but if you do want to join the FPL League, the code is on screen right now, and I'll leave the auto-join link in the description as well. After a goalless draw with Liverpool on the opening day, Szoboszlai scored a screamer as we went on to beat Wolves 5-0 for our first win of the season. Dom scored again as we beat Burnley 1-0, whereas Bowen grabbed a brace when we beat Newcastle 2-0. After 4 games unbeaten, we were feeling pretty good about ourselves, but then we played Everton. The Toffees smashed us 3-0 with Beto scoring a brace. I guess he was trying to get back at us for not picking him. But that was just the start. We also got battered by Arsenal 5-1, collapsed at home against Manchester United as we lost 6-3, and got torn apart by Spurs at Selhurst Park, losing 3-0. So at Christmas, we're only 9th in the table and looking nothing like potential champions. However, things picked up in the second half of the season, as our squad got more familiar with each other. Big Victor had been good. He started 42 games and scored 15 goals. But I think going forward, we have to focus on Šeško. He only featured in 15 games, but also scored 15 goals. In the end, it was Phil Foden who was our top scorer with 16 goals. Szoboszlai ended up collecting 18 Premier League assists, which was the most in the division. As the squad clicked, we surged up to 4th place, still 11 points off the top, but we've made a real statement. This challenge certainly feels doable, and our players are only going to improve heading into Season 2. These 6 players are basically guaranteed to start every game next season, so now we just need to figure out who fits best around them. And I imagine the players that fit best around them are subscribers. So make sure you click that subscribe button right now, and I'll get you a trial at the club to come and play with these guys, and we'll see who works out best with them. Season 2 kicked off with Šeško up top, but he started slow. Instead, Gordon, Szoboszlai and Bowen picked up the slack as we beat Middlesbrough, Leeds and Forest. Šeško didn't score until our 5th game of the season, which was a loss to Everton. But the Slovenian did start scoring more goals and slowly began to propel us up the table, coming up big in wins against Newcastle and Spurs. Despite him only scoring 7 Premier League goals, we are better than we were last season, and we're now 3rd in the table, just 5 points off the top spot. And just like last season, we only got better after Christmas. We beat title rivals Liverpool, Manchester United and Chelsea, where Alex Scott scored. The young midfielder has really developed this season, and he's looking like a star as we push for the title. Add in a 3-2 defeat on aggregate in the Champions League round of 16, and we now have a clear schedule ahead of us to focus on the Premier League. With 5 games to go, we're just 5 points behind Man City, and we could genuinely win the title this season. First up was Spurs, and we just managed a 1-0 win. Then we battered West Ham and Bournemouth, with Šeško netting 4 goals across the 2 games. The final 2 matches were tighter though. Thanks to a penalty against Southampton and Foden's goal against Villa, we managed to win both of them 1-0 to make it 5 wins from 5. But Man City won 4 of their last 5 to stay 2 points ahead of us. So close, yet so far. This certainly shows we're on the right tracks, but to win the title, we need more goals. So I'm about to do something radical. We're switching to a 4-4-2 diamond. It means we can play Šeško and Gyökeres up top, whilst dropping Bowen and Gordon after they had poor seasons. And this change might have given us the edge we need. Because we beat Man City on the opening day 4-2, and then we thrashed Villa 5-1 with Šeško and Gyökeres scoring braces in that game. In fact, we went unbeaten in our first 12 Premier League games of the season, with Šeško scoring 8 and Big Victor 5, as we looked like Premier League champions in waiting. The issue is, once we did lose to Spurs 2-1, we then lost to Liverpool and West Ham, which knocked our confidence and title hopes. Even with our electric form, Arsenal have been better, and they sit 4 points clear at Christmas. Šeško kept scoring for us in the new year, but for whatever reason, Big Victor dropped off and he couldn't hit a barn door. We need him to score goals to help us win the title, but he just can't do it now. We ended up replacing him with Jared Bowen, who did find form, and scored a screamer against Arsenal, but we could only manage to draw that game at the Emirates. Then came the death blows. Bournemouth, Leeds and Forest all beat us, which means the title is gone. We eventually slip to third in the table and miss out on the title by 5 points. The way we absolutely capitulated in the second half of the season feels like such a wasted opportunity. We really might not have a better chance than this in the next 2 seasons. With Gyökeres being unreliable, I'm switching back to a 4-2-3-1 for Season 4. A season on the sidelines must have done Gordon and Bowen some good, because they were playing like they had a point to prove. Our start to the campaign wasn't as good as the previous season, but we kept more clean sheets, especially against teams lower down the table, which is what caused us to slip up last time out. So it was even more frustrating when we lost 1-0 to Manchester United, 2-1 at home against Arsenal, and then 3-1 away at Luton. As a result, both Arsenal and United are above us at Christmas, but we have an all-important game in hand on them. But before we have a chance to catch them up, we threw it all away. In January, we suffered losses to Everton, Newcastle, Man City, and crucially Arsenal, casting us way adrift of the top 2. The worst part? We actually smashed the final run-in. Alex Scott, Phil Foden and Anthony Gordon had their best goal-scoring seasons yet. It was just too little, too late. We finish 11 points adrift, and now we have just 1 season left to complete the challenge. But I have a plan. To start Season 5, we're sticking with the 4-2-3-1, which for the most part worked well. We beat the teams that we should be beating, the ones down the bottom end of the table, and because of an injury to Šeško, Gyökeres was actually the man scoring the goals. However, we did look susceptible when we came up against the big boys. We lost away from home against Chelsea, Liverpool, West Ham and Spurs. But thanks to the wins against everyone else, we're in the title mix. At Christmas, we're 5 points behind Brentford of all teams, who sit in first place. Last season, we suffered a slump in January, partly because we just couldn't score goals. So now we switch back to the Diamonds, which we know gets us goals and our results improved. We went unbeaten in January. Draws with Leicester and Villa stung, but Šeško and Big Victor, and all the goals they scored, were proving that we made the right tactical choice. Gyökeres scored twice as we beat top of the table Brentford 4-2, Šeško scored a winner in a tight fight against Man City, and they both scored past Spurs as we won 3-1 at home, inching us ever closer to the top spot. With 6 games to go, we're 7 points behind Manchester United, with a game in hand. But the top 4 sides all come up against each other in the final run-in. So if we can beat United and Arsenal, and hope the other 3 teams draw against each other, we still have a chance. We did exactly what we had to do in our next 2 matches. We started off by beating Liverpool 3-1, before thrashing Manchester United 5-1 to steal 3 points away from them in the title race. But Arsenal beat Man City, which didn't do us any favours. We're 5 points behind the Gunners with 4 games to go. Even if we beat them, it won't be enough to catch them up. In our next match, we beat Chelsea 3-0 to keep the pressure on, only for disaster to strike in the game after that. Against 19th place Everton, Alex Scott opened the scoring, and then Šeško doubled it. We were cruising, but a defensive lapse allowed Ricardo Pepi to pull one back. Then we fell asleep defending a corner, allowing Everton to draw the game. But all isn't lost. Man United were defeated by West Ham, before then doing us a favour and taking points away from Arsenal, who also drew against Liverpool, meaning we gained 3 points on the Gunners. Liverpool also beat Man City, which sets up an insane ending to the season. Us and Arsenal have a game in hand over the Manchester clubs. If we beat Arsenal, we head into the final day of the season on top of the table thanks to our superior goal difference. It all comes down to this. Avoid defeat and we've got a shot. Lose and it's pretty much all over. So we're starting off with a Szoboszlai free kick, and Raya's made a really good save there to deny us the opening goal of the game. I just wonder, can we get something from this corner? We've got some big men in the middle, but they've cleared it at the near post. Arsenal have got a free kick of their own now, but Bart the Brujan has just made a really decent collection there. A draw is okay for us. It keeps us 2 points behind these few clubs here. but then we have to rely on all of them not winning the final day of the season and us winning, of course. And if we can get the first goal of the game, it would make life so much easier for us. Alex Scott. Oh, it was almost perfect. Okay, really even first half though. We had all the possession though, and we've not been able to do much with it. Foden has got so much space to run into, but elects to pass to Šeško, who puts a great ball over the top. Victor, do not let me down. He doesn't. You love to see it. Come on. The man that we stole away from Arsenal when picking our players might be the man to put the nail in the coffin for Arsenal's title hopes this season. A 1-goal lead is delicate, as Victor finds Aaron Hickey. Back to Victor. Come on, fella. Oh, we're so unfortunate not to score there. We're all over them now. We are all penalty? Oh my word, that is so lucky, because I think Jesus got there first. The penalty's been given, oh my word. And now Szoboszlai could seal the win for us. It's in off the post. Right, 5 minutes to go in this game. Let's not concede a goal now. Let's not do a Spurs against PSG in the Super Cup, please. Don't do this to me. I thought we were safe. I thought we were safe. No. God, they're still just there. They're not giving up, are they? Win it, please. What has just happened? Genuinely, what has just happened? 86, 89, 91. We can't win the title with 5 points. We can't. We've failed. We've failed like that. I guess sometimes you just can't win at all. We fail the challenge. I don't fail the challenge when I take over Luton Town to try and win them the Premier League, because I'm not going to stop until we achieve our goal. Click the video on screen to see how I took Luton Town from League One back to the Premier League and to eventually become the champions.